Okay, so the idea of the gun is manhood. And so Dave has killed the mule, and the town has found out, and now people are holding him accountable. Okay, so the kind of the punishment is he has to pay for the mule, and the mule is $50. Dave makes $2 a month, and this means that it will take him just a little bit over 2 years. As Dave figures, it's 2 years to pay off the mule. So this idea of running away, because we see at the end of the story that Dave hops on the train, lays flat on the boxcar, and is going somewhere he can be a man, is how we end the story. So I think it's really tempting to see Dave's action as the action of a child, right? To run away from one's problems and to not stay there and to, quote, man up, I guess, and take the punishment for what he's done. And I think that's very obvious and very easy to see, but is there another way to look at it? Because that's what this class is thinking about different ways to look at the same story, because as we've said, there's no one correct way to read it. So let me offer you up something different. Dave is in a society right now that is privileges white men over all others, and privileges black men, I believe, at the very lowest, at least in a very, very limited capacity compared to the white privilege at this time. And I believe this kind of thing still happens today. Anyway, so do we see Dave's action, right? He is trapped in a society where the work he can get pays him $2 a month, not a living wage, right? If he had been white, doing the same work, would he have not had the opportunity to move up, to own his own farm, to be born into a better educational system, so on and so forth, right? So he has had a very limited opportunity to take from society what is needed for success or for becoming self-actualized or independent, or however we'd like to think about this, right? So David's actions, he comes to say, $50, 2 years, 2 years of my life. No, I refuse to do this, right? And so we're left with a question here. What is this? What is the action? What is this action? Is this the action of a man or a boy? As Wright says, the man who was almost a man. And it's kind of ambiguous here in the title. So this idea of is Dave's running away the act of a self-actualized man? A person who realizes that they are trapped in a society that will not offer them the ability to support themselves. And within the societal oppression, to say, I refuse to yet further be victimized by a mistake. $50, 2 years of a man's life for a mistake. And if society was fair, or if it was more completely similar treatment, I guess, however we'd like to say this, towards all citizens, would the punishment be as severe? And I think the obvious answer here is probably not, no. And that this kind of societal hierarchy forces him into a much more severe punishment than would have been had if he had been another race, and so on and so forth. So what are Dave's actions here? Is his rejection of this punishment the act of a manhood or the act of a child? And this is something that is very ambiguous, right? And it's something that I think that calls out to us to look toward, the society around us, right? Are the actions, is everyone punished fairly? And I believe that's what Richard Wright is kind of pointing to in this story. In the society, is everyone punished fairly? Is everyone privileged equally, right? And are the actions of people, of the actors, of citizens within this kind of societal makeup, are these actions always seen from this singular perspective of, yes, if you don't do don't do the crime if you can't do the time, and so on and so forth. That is there a recognition here that for some people that the punishment is less for the crime, and that standing up against that oppression may in fact be a way of actualizing your own manhood, right? Becoming a man, taking control of your own life, realizing that your life here, right now, is in a situation that you were unwilling to accept, and moving on from it. And this is the question I'd like to pose to you. So in your responses, and I've already read many of your responses, you talk a lot about manhood, but if you'd like to carry on the conversation anymore, please feel free to respond to this, and let's talk about, what is this idea of manhood? What is this idea of responsibility? And it's totally acceptable to say no. Absolutely. This idea of manhood is you standing for what you knew the price before you did the crime, and you chose to do it anyway, and that is as simple as that. That's fine. If you want to take that position and defend it, I understand completely, and it has been done many times. Are there other ways to look at it as well? Are there more nuanced ways to look at it as well? And just tell me, because I'd like to hear what you have to say, and there's plenty of other stuff to talk about in this story. And again, if you have time, please watch the video on Richard Wright. It has a ton of great information, and I think it kind of helps put you in the place of the author himself. When the author realizes that he comes to this realization that the American educational system is teaching him nothing, it's not giving him anything that's going to allow him to be productive, and it's going to keep forcing him into these menial wage jobs, and he chooses to do something completely outside of that system, away from that system. Okay, anyway, so it was nice speaking with you again, and I will be sending more videos shortly.